Hello my dear students. So in the previous video I have started with the types of chemical reaction and we have discussed about it. So I have told you about the direct combination reaction and the decomposition reaction. Now let's proceed further with the types of chemical reaction. So the last part that I discussed was a decomposition reaction. Now let's come to another reaction. Let's proceed. That is now copper. This is called as hydrated copper sulfate. Now this is what? Blue in color. Blue color crystals. And when we heat it, what will happen? It will lose its 5 molecules of water and it forms white colored crystal. That is, it becomes white anhydrous. White anhydrous mass that it becomes. That is, it loses this 5 molecules of water. Again, suppose if you take this copper sulfate and you add 5 molecules of water to it, it will be forming CuSO4.5H2O. So this was white anhydrous mass. It was white in color. Again, this will turn to blue color. It will be forming. It will be getting its blue color back. So this type of reaction. So we can write down this as a reversible reaction. That is CuSO4.5H2O. On heating, it is forming CuSO4 plus 5H2O, and it is a reversible reaction. That is, on addition of water, again it will turn back to its original place. Either you write down in this way or we can write down in this way. Both the ways it's okay. So it's a reversible reaction. Let me give you another example of the similar type of reaction. That is, so this was our first example. This is our second example. That is Fe plus H2O forms Fe3O4 plus H2. That is, this will be 4, this will be over here 3, this will be 4 over here. Now this is also a reversible reaction. That means iron reacts with water molecules forming triferric tetraoxide along with hydrogen. If the conditions are been reversed, again it reverses back. That is when it combines with hydrogen once again, forming, that is, iron and water molecules. So it is a reversible reaction which has been, that is, on heating it becomes, on heating we get this, again these combine back and we get our original product. Next type, similar type of reaction, that is ammonium chloride. We are heating it and what does it form? That is ammonia in the gaseous state plus hydrogen chloride again in the gaseous state. And this also by heating, and this is on cooling. So what happens over here? That is ammonium chloride, when it is heated, it forms two gases, that is ammonia and hydrogen chloride. And these two gases, that is ammonia and hydrogen chloride, they condense on the cooler parts of the test tube to form the ammonium chloride back. So we are getting our original compound back. So we can say that this is a reversible reaction. Reversible reaction. Which reversible reaction? Decomposition reaction. Thermal decomposition reaction. It is a thermal decomposition reversible reaction. Now whenever this thermal decomposition reaction, it is reversible, when it reverses back, this type of thermal decomposition reversible reaction, we call this as thermal dissociation. Thermal dissociation. So what can we say? A thermal decomposition reaction which can be reversed back. Such a type of thermal decomposition reaction which is reversible, this is called as the thermal dissociation reaction. So this is a special case of thermal decomposition reaction. So if we have been asked to define thermal dissociation, so what can we just speak about thermal dissociation? That is, it is a simultaneous reversible reaction which has been brought about only by application of heat. I repeat once again, or let me write down on the board. Thermal dissociation reaction. What is it? It is a simultaneous reversible decomposition reaction brought about only by application of heat. Only by application of heat. Let me give you another example of this type of reactor. That is N2O4. This takes place by application of heat, and this is reversible on cooling. It will be forming over here 2NO2. That is dinitrogen tetraoxide. On heating, it is forming 2 molecules of nitrogen dioxide, which again reverses back on cooling to form N2O4. So what is thermal dissociation reaction? That is a thermal decomposition reaction which is reversible, which is brought about only by application of heat. That is called as thermal dissociation. That is, in this particular case, in case of thermal dissociation, no light energy is involved, no electrical energy is involved. So the thermal decomposition reaction where only heat energy has been involved and which is also reversible, such a type of thermal decomposition reaction we call it as a thermal dissociation reaction. So, can you just tell me what are the differences between the thermal decomposition reaction and thermal dissociation reaction? I gave you some examples, I gave you some points, so I think now it's easier for you to write down the differences between the thermal decomposition reaction and thermal dissociation reaction. So, we have completed another type of reaction. Now, this is a type of your thermal decomposition reaction, which is a reversible reaction. Next reaction, let's consider that's a third type of reaction, is a displacement reaction. Now, in a displacement reaction, we need again our activity series. Let me write down the activity series once again. That is K, Na, Ca, Mg, Al, Zn, Fe, Pb, H, Cu, Hg, Ag, Au, Pt. Now, in the previous video also I wrote this activity series, but in the activity series, in that particular case, I have not mentioned hydrogen, because that was I wanted to discuss only the metals, the decomposition reaction of the metals which takes place. But actually, in the activity series, hydrogen has also been placed because it shows, that is, it loses the electrons like the metals, and hence it has been placed along with the metals. So we can just place it in this over here. So as you have the activity series, this is the activity series for the metals. For metals. In the same way, we also have the activity series for the non-metals. So activity series for non-metals, I am writing down over here. That is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Now here in this case, the reactivity, that is the most active or reactive element, is at the top, and the least one at the bottom. That is why we know that gold and platinum, they do not react. Otherwise, whatever gold and platinum jewelry that we wear, that would have reacted with the atmosphere, but they do not react because they are not at all reactive. So the most reactive element at the top. So here the reactivity, it decreases down this way. Same way, same thing happens with the non-metals also. That is the reactivity most active at the top and the least reactive at the bottom. That is, it decreases down in this way. Now let's come back to the displacement reaction. Let me first give you an example of a displacement reaction, then I will give you the definition. Let's take that is CuSO4 plus Zn. It will give us ZnSO4 plus Cu. So this copper sulfate, which is blue in color, when it reacts with zinc, this will be forming a colorless solution and a reddish brown deposit. Reddish brown deposit of copper will be formed. We can also say pink deposit of copper. Copper color always we will be mentioning either reddish brown deposit or a pink color. It's never red color. So this is what happens. So look here. Let's come to this activity series. Where is zinc over here at this particular place, and where is copper over here? So what in this reaction has happened, there is zinc, which is at the top in the activity series, has displaced copper from here and has taken copper's place, leading to the formation of zinc sulfate. That instead of copper sulfate you are getting zinc sulfate. That means zinc, which is at the top, has displaced copper, which is at the bottom of the series, leading to the formation of zinc sulfate, and copper has come out of this and has been forming a reddish brown deposit of copper will be left behind into the solution. So these type of reactions where a more active element, that means the one which is at the top in the reactivity series, displaces the one which is least active, that this type of reaction, we call this as a displacement reaction. And we find more the gap between these elements, the easier will be the reaction. If the two elements are placed in such a way that they are very near to each other, then we'll find that the displacement reaction will be very difficult. If they are far away from each other, then we'll find that very easily one will displace the other. Then next, let's have some few more examples of this displacement reaction. That is Mg plus H2SO4. It will be forming MgSO4 plus H2, that is hydrogen. Effervescence will be given off. Why? Because of the formation of hydrogen gas. And if a burning splinter is brought near to it, this hydrogen, it is going to burn with a pop sound. So here also let's have a look. Where is Mg over here? Mg is over here and is displacing what? It is displacing hydrogen. Where is hydrogen? Hydrogen is over here. So Mg is at this position, that is 1, 2, 3, 4th position, and hydrogen is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th position over here into the activity series. So there's a too much of gap, and very easily this magnesium is going to displace hydrogen from this sulfuric acid, leading to the formation of magnesium sulfate and hydrogen. But suppose if I say that it is a reaction between copper sulfate and hydrogen, look here, or let's consider copper and sulfuric acid. Instead of magnesium, if I take copper, that is Cu plus H2SO4, will it displace hydrogen from here? No, because copper is down in the activity series. Any element which is down in the activity series will not displace the element which is above it. So if I write down this, that is Cu plus H2SO4, no reaction will take place. In fact, this will be wrong to write it down in this way, because copper is lower in the activity series. It is not going to displace hydrogen from here. Let's have some few more examples from this non-metals, that is potassium iodide plus chlorine. It is leading to the formation of potassium chloride and iodine. So where is I over here? I is over here. Where is chlorine? Chlorine is at the top. So what this chlorine is doing, it is replacing this iodine from potassium iodide, and it is taking its place, that is 2KCl plus, and iodine which was along with potassium, it is coming out, leading to the formation of one molecule of iodine. So see that you be thorough with the activity series of the metals as well as the activity series of the non-metals. See that you by heart both the series. It will be very, very much helpful to you. Is it clear? So this was with the displacement reaction. As far as I know, I have given you all the examples. Most of the examples has been given to you. Then I'll proceed further with the next type of reaction. Oh, okay, one more thing that I missed out, that is the definition of a displacement reaction. Now displacement reaction is the reaction where a more active element which has been placed in the activity series displaces a less active element in the metal activity series. Such a type of reaction we call this as a displacement reaction. So after coming to the examples of the displacement reaction, the definition becomes very easy for you people. Okay, let's proceed further. The fourth type of reaction is a double decomposition. Double decomposition reaction. Now let's consider this reaction. Let me first give you an example. What is this reaction? AB, or let me write down this reaction over here. So here I can write down the reaction. That is AB plus CD forming AD plus CB. Now what exactly is happening into the, now for example AB is a compound, CD is another compound, both the compounds they have been breaking together, so A is coming along with D and over here C is coming along with D. So what exactly is happening, look here, let's see the ionic form of the reaction, where is A plus B minus, because every compound has got the positive and the negative ion. So in this compound also one is the positive, and obviously we always write down the positive ion first and the negative ion afterwards. So A plus B minus, plus this sign C plus G minus, this arrow again A plus, A comes over here along with D minus, plus over here first we have to write down the positive, that is C plus B minus. So finally we get this form of the, if you combine, if you remove the positive and the negative sign, what it will be, AB plus CD gives AB plus CB. Can we write down BC over here instead of CB? No, we cannot write down BC over here, because always we have to write down the positive ion first followed by the negative ion. So this type of reaction, we call this as a double decomposition reaction. So this is a general form of an equation which shows a double decomposition reaction. So what can we say over here? Two compounds are breaking up. This compound AB is breaking up, CD is also been breaking up to form two new compounds. They are mutually exchanging the radicals. AB is exchanging with CD. Same way CD is also exchanging with AB to give rise to a new type of compounds. Two compounds are being formed over here. So what can we say? Two compounds in the solution react to form two new compounds on mutual exchange of radicals. Two compounds breaks up, or two compounds in the solution reacts or breaks up to form two new compounds by mutual exchange, of radicals. By mutual exchange of radicals, it can also be ions over here, anything. Either mutual exchange of radicals or mutual exchange of ions, no problem, it will be same thing. Such type of reactions, we call them as a double decomposition reaction. Now this was a general form of the double decomposition reaction. We'll proceed with certain examples, but before we proceed with certain examples, let me tell you, double decomposition reaction are again of two types. That is your precipitation reaction and second type is what? Neutralization reaction. Now when I say precipitation reaction means what? From the word itself you should be getting an idea what is a precipitation reaction. A reaction in which a precipitate has been formed. Such a type of double decomposition reaction, that is called as a precipitation reaction. So two compounds in the, so what can we say about the precipitation reaction? That is two compounds in the solution form react. Two compounds in the solution form will react to form an insoluble compound. Two compounds In aqueous form will give rise to a precipitate. Such a type of reaction we call this as a precipitation reaction. Let us have an example of a precipitation reaction, that is barium chloride plus sulfuric acid. It will form what? Barium sulfate plus, let me rub this part over here. I hope it's clear with you. Then I'll just rub it off. So it will be forming barium sulfate plus 2HCl, that is hydrochloric acid over here. So barium chloride with sulfuric acid is forming a white precipitate, white PPT. White PPT of barium sulfate along with 2HCl, that is 2 molecules of hydrochloric acid. Similar type of reaction, that is, it can also in one of the class I've shown you, that is barium chloride with, instead of sulfuric acid, if you take sodium sulfate, Na2SO4, what will be the product? Again, this one of the product will be same, that is barium sulfate plus 2NaCl. Then let's have some few more examples, that is copper sulfate. Now this is in the aqueous form, this is also in the aqueous form. All these reactions, that is also in the aqueous form, and sulfuric acid always we get it in the liquid form. So this is also in the aqueous form, AQ plus H2S, hydrogen sulfide. This is in the gaseous form. What it will form? CuS, a black precipitate, a black PPT of copper sulfide will be formed along with H2SO4. So, okay, let's have another example, that is AgNO3 plus HCl forming AgCl plus HNO3, that is a white precipitate, white PPT. In all these reactions I am just giving you the color of the precipitate. This will also be a white PPT. Barium sulfate will also be a white PPT over here. So this also white precipitate of silver chloride will be formed. Then instead of HCl, can we take AgNO3, NaCl over here? Let's see whether can we take. That is fifth reaction over here, AgNO3 plus NaCl. Very important reaction. What it will be forming? That is AgCl, which is again a white precipitate, plus NaNO3. So this is also a white PPT. So these are all the examples of under double decomposition. These are all the examples of the precipitation reaction. In each of the case, a precipitate that has been formed. So let me just show you what exactly is happening over here in case of this precipitation reaction. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's take this example and let me show you how the radicals that has been exchanged over here. Look here, I am taking this reaction of AgNO3 plus NaCl. Let's take this reaction. I am writing down once again over here, AgNO3 plus NaCl leading to the formation of AgCl plus NaNO3. So what is happening over here? This is Ag plus NO3 minus plus Na plus Cl minus. This is Ag plus Cl minus, that is Ag is coming along with this negative ion, plus over here Na, this is positive ion, so this is Na plus NO3 minus. Now if we write down this NO3 first, suppose if you are writing down NO, it's first over here, so NO3 and then Na, this is going to be wrong. So again, this is again, if you are removing all these signs, you are getting back this reaction. Okay, so these are all the examples of the precipitation reaction under double decomposition. Now we move on to the next type of the double decomposition reaction. Let me rub the board. Is it okay everyone? Just go through it once, then I'll rub the board. So next we are having the neutralization reaction under the double decomposition, that is now this is a very common type of reaction, that is an acid reacts with a base to form salt and water. It's very common. Let us have an example, that is NaOH, which is a base, plus an acid, that is HCl, forming NaCl plus H2O. Let's see the ionic form of the reaction, that is Na plus OH minus plus H plus Cl minus, forming Na plus Cl minus plus H plus OH minus. So what is happening, this H plus and OH minus, it is leading to the formation of H2O, water molecules. Neutralization reaction. What does the word suggest? Neutralization. What is neutralizing? The effect of an acid has been neutralized by a base. The effect of a base has been neutralized by an acid, leading to the formation of salt and water. So this is also, here also two compounds, they have been breaking up and mutually exchanging their radicals. So it is a type of a double decomposition reaction. And neutralization reactions are very, very important, and we find wide applications, various uses of the neutralization reaction even in our day-to-day life also. So some of the neutralization reaction, some of the decomposition reaction, they also take place by formation or by the evolution of a gas. Now first let me tell you the uses of the neutralization reaction. So uses or application of the neutralization reaction. Suppose if we are stung by a bee. So if a bee bites you, if you are stung by a bee, what happens? It releases formic acid. It releases formic acid onto our skin. Now as it releases formic acid on our skin, we find that we suffer from some burning sensation or some pain on the skin. So if to get it relieved, what do we have to apply? We have to apply over here slaked lime. Slaked lime, what is the chemical formula for slaked lime? It's nothing but it is a calcium hydroxide. We are applying calcium. If we apply calcium hydroxide on our skin, we will find that we will be relieved from the pain. So this is what an application of a neutralization reaction. A bee is giving you an acid, is injecting you with an acid due to which you feel the pain. And if you are applying a base to it, the effect of the acid will be neutralized. The effect of the acid will be decreased, due to which you are relieved. Another application of the second application, in our stomach we are having the hydrochloric acid, that is HCl. Now when we eat too much of heavy food, if you are having too much of oily food, heavy food, what happens? This amount of hydrochloric acid increases in the stomach. Now when it increases in the stomach, what happens? You feel discomfort or pain in the stomach. So in order to relieve that, what do we have to take? We have to take either milk of magnesia, which is a base, or certain medicines which contains aluminium hydroxide. You get those syrups which contains aluminium hydroxide or magnesium hydroxide. Now all of them, they are basic in nature, which will reduce the effect of acidity in the stomach, and then you will be relieved from excess of acidity. Now another thing is that, as I told you, that if the acid increases too much, it is harmful, you feel discomfort, but some amount of acid is always required. Like suppose if you are eating too much of heavy food, if too much of proteins or too much of non-veg food like chicken and all, and to digest those type of foods, some amount of acid is always required into the stomach. Now if due to some reason, if that hydrochloric acid becomes too less, that is also not good for our digestion. There will be difficulty in digesting our food. Then we have to take some other acid in some other form, that is the medicines which may contain some acids, which may be, sometimes in our food stuff also contains certain acid like citric acid or acetic acid, which is a vinegar. So vinegar is also a type of, vinegar is nothing but it is the acetic acid or citric acid. So all these acids either we consume with the food, or in the medicine form also we have to consume some acid, so that the acid of the stomach should not go down. So what I mean to say is that too much of acidity is not good, too much of hydrochloric acid in the stomach is not good, but too less is also not good. That is, there should be an optimum level of hydrochloric acid inside the stomach. Then sometimes when the soil has been made too acidic, soil becomes too acidic. Now too much of acidic soil is not good for the growth of plant. Not good for the growth of plant. So what we have to do, we have to add a base to it. So what do we have to add? That is, we have to add calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide to the soil, that is slated lime, or we have to add certain fertilizers containing the basic substance which will neutralize the acidity of the soil, and the soil will become fit for growing crops. Then sometimes when acid falls on the cloth, the clothes may get damaged. So in that case, we can treat the clothes with ammonia solution. If we are treating the clothes with the ammonia solution on which the acid has fallen down, then we can find that we can prevent our clothes from getting damaged. Otherwise, if it is for a long time, if the acid remains on the clothes, immediately you have to do that. Otherwise, we'll find that our clothes will get spoiled. So these are certain reactions of neutralization reactions which comes under the double decomposition reaction. Now one more thing, that is the double decomposition, there's a note that is a double decomposition reaction. As I told you, it is either precipitation reaction or a neutralization reaction. In precipitation reaction, what happens? A precipitate has been formed. In neutralization reaction, the effect of the acidity or the basicity has been neutralized, leading to the formation of salt and water. Another thing about the double decomposition reaction is what? Sometimes it may also occur with the evolution of a gas, may also occur with evolution of a gas. Let me give an example of this particular type, that is FeS plus H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid in the aqueous condition, will react with it, forming FeSO4 plus hydrogen sulfide is what? Gaseous. So a gas has been released. Another example under this point, that is here zinc sulfide plus HCl, which is in the aqueous condition, or dilute hydrochloric acid. What happens? Zinc chloride plus H2S, that is hydrogen sulfide gas that has been formed over here. So here in both these cases, a gas has been released. So we can say what? Double decomposition, in certain cases in double decomposition reaction, besides formation of a precipitate, besides neutralization, you may also see that a gas that has been evolved. Here also you can see the compounds are mutually exchanging their radicals. So all these are the examples of the double decomposition reaction. I hope you are clear with the different types of double decomposition reaction. Now let's have something more besides it, that is energy change into a chemical reaction. Okay, now one more type of a reaction which I missed out. Let me first discuss that one more type of a reaction. Besides this 4 main types of reaction, there is another type of reaction which is called as the hydrolysis reaction. Let me first explain you what is hydrolysis reaction, then we'll come to the energy changes. So, hydrolysis reaction. Now what is a hydrolysis reaction? That is salt reacts with water. Salt reacts with water to give you either an acidic solution or a basic solution. I am writing down this solution in short form. Such a type of reaction, salt reacts with water either to form an acidic solution or a basic solution. Such type of a reaction, we call this as your hydrolysis reaction. Now let us have, now this hydrolysis only, so salt is reacting with water. So what is the role of water over here? When water has been added to a salt over here, it will rupture the bonds between the salt. Water is what? H plus plus OH minus. Suppose over here any salt that has been taken and water has been added to it, it will rupture the bond between this ions of the salt, leading to the formation of either an acidic solution or a basic solution. Let us have now which type of salt that has been used. A salt that has been which leads to a hydrolysis reaction. It can be of 2 types. That is a salt which has been formed by salts formed by either from a strong base strong base plus weak acid. Either it should be this or it should be a strong acid plus strong acid, so this will be weak base. So when you are taking salt over here, the salt should be formed either from a strong acid and a weak base. The salt formed should be either from the combination of a strong base and a weak acid, or it should be a combination from a strong acid and a weak base. Now let us have certain examples of such type of reactions. Okay, that is, let's take the first example, that is strong base and a weak acid. Strong base plus weak acid. So here we have our first reaction, that is sodium carbonate plus water molecules forming over here 2NaOH plus H2CO3. Let me just check the equation. Sodium carbonate plus 2 molecules of water, 2NaOH plus H2CO3. So what is this? This is a strong base and this is a weak acid. So when a strong base is reacting with a weak acid, it is forming sodium carbonate. Okay? So this salt that has been formed. So when this salt that has been formed in this with sodium carbonate, it is then reacting with water, leading to formation of sodium hydroxide and carbonic acid. It is an example of a hydrolysis reaction. So what is the role of water over here? There are some force of attraction between sodium ions and carbonate ions. So what will water do over here? That is, water will weaken the bond between sodium and carbonate. It will rupture the bond between sodium and carbonate. It will weaken the bond between sodium and carbonate, leading to the formation of sodium hydroxide and carbonic acid. And basically this sodium carbonate, how it has been formed? When you are making sodium hydroxide to react with carbonic acid, sodium hydroxide is a strong base and carbonic acid is a weak acid, it will lead to the formation of sodium carbonate. Now in this case, the base, in such a type of reaction, the base is what? Strong base and is a weak acid. So the solution formed will be what? Basic solution. Basic solution, and this base, because the solution is basic in nature, it will turn the red litmus will turn to blue. What will happen to the blue litmus? No change, because over here the base is in the stronger position. Its solution is more basic, so its a red litmus is going to turn to blue. Next we will take the example where we are taking strong acid, that is strong acid plus weak base. So let me give you an example of this type of reaction where we are having the strong acid and a weak base, that is FeCl3 plus H2O, leading to the formation of FeOH thrice plus HCl. So this will be over here 3 over here. So this will be over here 3H2O, and this is 3H, this is chlorine over here 3, so this is going to be 3HCl. So the reaction has been balanced. Now this is what? A weak base and this is a strong acid. Look here, ferric hydroxide is a weak base, this is a strong acid. And this ferric hydroxide is a weak base and hydrochloric acid is a strong acid over here, and this ferric chloride which has been formed, this is a combination between, that is, it has been obtained by reaction between ferric hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. So we are coming to what? Strong acid and a weak base. If this salt which has been formed over here, if it has been formed from strong acid and a weak base, only then it is going to react with water, leading to the formation of hydrolysis reaction, leading to the formation of again ferric hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. So here what is the role of water molecules over here? Water molecule is rupturing the force of attraction, or is weakening the force of attraction between iron and chloride ions over here, leading to the formation of ferric hydroxide. That is, Fe has been separated from Cl and it is coming along with hydroxide, that is OH3, leading to the formation of ferric hydroxide, and chlorine is coming along with hydrogen, forming what? Hydrochloric acid. Now this is, here the acid is strong, so obviously the resulting solution will be what? Acidic in nature, acidic solution, Acidic solution, the resulting solution will be acidic in nature. What is the acidic solution? What change will it bring into? That is blue litmus will turn to red in presence of the acidic solution. So this is the last type of reaction, that is a hydrolysis reaction. Now, whenever any chemical reaction takes place, some energy will be involved into the reaction. What happens? Either the energy will be evolved, either the energy will be given out, or the energy will be absorbed. Depending on whether the energy has been evolved, whether the energy has been given out, or whether the energy has been taken in, again we are having the two types of reactions based on the energy changes. These were on all how the reactions are taking place. Based on the mode of the reaction, these were several types of reactions that I have explained you. But depending on the changes in the energy, we are having again two major types of reactions depending on the energy changes, whether the energy has been evolved or the energy has been absorbed. Now what happens? Why this energy changes takes place? Now first of all, let me tell you, every chemical compound, every chemical substance, it has got some stored energy into it. Now this energy which has been stored into the chemical substances, this energy, we call this energy as a potential energy. So every chemical substance, every chemical compound has got some chemical substances, every chemical substance has got some stored energy within them. If the energy is stored, what can we call this as? Potential energy. It has got potential energy, and this potential energy is also called as the chemical energy stored within the substances. It is this chemical energy which helps in the chemical reactions to take place. So either the energy may be evolved or the energy may be absorbed. This energy necessarily may not be in the form of heat. It can be in the form of heat, light, sound, or even the electrical energy. I repeat once again, the energy involved in a chemical reaction, it may be either in the form of a heat, light, sound, or it can also be in the form of the electrical energy. So based on this, we are having the two types of reaction. So let me explain those two types of reaction based on the energy changes. So based on the energy changes, based on energy, changes, the two types of reactions are what? Exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. Okay, exothermic reaction is a reaction in which heat energy that has been evolved or given out, heat energy or any kind of energy, particularly we are dealing over here with the heat energy over here. So heat energy has been given out, or you can also say evolved. This is what energy is absorbed. Heat energy is absorbed. Such a type of reaction, we call this as a endothermic reaction. Now first of all, we will come to exothermic reaction. Now what happens when this when energy comes into the picture? See, so some energy that has been absorbed in breaking up of the old bond, that is so what happens is the breaking of the bond between the substances. As I told you, when a chemical reaction takes place, the old bonds have been broken and new bonds have been formed. So in the breaking up of the bond also, old bonds also, energy that has been required. So energy is absorbed. Absorption of energy takes place. And there is in the breaking up of old bonds and formation of new bonds, it may happen that energy is released. So in breaking up of the old bonds, energy that has been absorbed, and when the new bonds are been formed, energy is released. So this is what happens with the energy changes. So let's come to the first type over here. There is an exothermic reaction. So as I told you, heat is released into this or heat is given out into this. Let us have some few examples. That is carbon plus oxygen. It leads to the formation of carbon dioxide plus heat has been given out into this reaction. Next is what? Glucose, that is C6H12O6 plus 6 molecules of oxygen. It will lead to the formation of, that is 6 molecules of carbon dioxide along with 6 molecules of water vapor. Now what type of reaction over here? That is glucose and oxygen, they are reacting to form carbon dioxide and water vapor. It's a very important reaction. You must be very familiar with this reaction. That is glucose in our body has been reacting with oxygen. From where does it get oxygen? The oxygen which we take in, forming carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide formed is we are giving out. As we breathe out, we give out carbon dioxide, and water vapor that has been given, water vapor has also been given off when we breathe out, and in this process heat energy is released. And this heat energy that has been formed into this reaction, or the heat energy that has been released, we utilize it for performing various activities, our day-to-day activities or whatever activities, or whether for playing or studying. For everything we require energy. So this is how we get this energy, and this whole process, what do we call it as? Respiration. So what kind of reaction is this respiration? Respiration is an exothermic reaction, because the heat energy that has been released into the reaction is utilized by us in various processes. Then, so these are certain examples of the exothermic reaction. We can have one more over here. There are several examples. It's not possible for me to write down all of them. There is calcium oxide reacting with water molecules, forming calcium hydroxide, and heat that has been released into this reaction. So this is with the exothermic reaction. Next come to the endothermic reaction. So in this, heat energy that has been absorbed, for example, carbon plus sulfur leading to the formation of carbon disulfide. So this will be 2 over here, and into this what is happening? I am writing down the heat sign over here. That means into this reaction the heat energy that has been absorbed, either you can write down heat sign over the arrow, or you can also write down C plus 2S plus heat leading to the formation of carbon disulfide. Both the ways it's right. Or we can another example of this type of reaction, that is N2 plus O2, which on heating to a high temperature of 3000 degrees Celsius, it is forming what? 2NO. That is 2 molecules of nitric oxide. So again you can write down in this way, that is N2 plus O2 plus heat. But you have to mention that is 3000 degrees Celsius over here, giving us 2NO. So both the ways of writing down the reaction is correct. That is endothermic reaction. So one thing that you keep in mind, that is in endothermic reaction, we have to show the heat sign either on this side of the arrow or over the arrow, because heat energy that has been absorbed over here. And the exothermic reaction, because heat energy is evolved, we are writing down the heat on the other side. Then let's take another example, that is calcium carbonate. It decomposes, sometime back I told you, forming calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide, and in this also heat energy of 1000 degrees Celsius that has been absorbed to give us this product. So these are the major type of reactions on the basis of the heat changes, or on the basis of the energy changes. Sometimes most of the times it is the heat energy is involved, but another form of energy can also be involved over here, that is sound energy or electrical energy. If electrical energy is involved, what do we say? For example, water molecules, when we pass electric current, so that is called as the electrolysis. Again, I cannot discuss again in detail about this. So these are the important types of reactions. Besides this, we are also having electrochemical reactions. So electrochemical reactions. Electrochemical reactions means what? Absorption. It takes place by absorption of electrical energy. Absorption of electrical. Let us have at least one example, that is potassium chloride. When we are passing an electric current into it, it will form K plus plus Cl, minus 2 ions will be, that is it will split up, forming the positive and the negative ion. Then we are also having Okay, one more electrochemical reaction just sometime back, that is I told you, that is what electrolysis. When you are passing electric current into water molecules, what happens? It will form hydrogen and oxygen. Then so it's a very simple equation, no need to write down again. Next we have the photochemical reaction. Photochemical reaction. So photochemical reaction, obviously what it is, absorption of light energy. It takes place by absorption of light energy. Absorption of light energy. Let us have at least one example from this. Absorption of light energy. So here there is silver nitrate. Yesterday also I gave you this example. Silver nitrate, when it is exposed to sunlight, what happens? It breaks up, forming Ag plus NO2 plus O2, that is silver plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. So let us just check whether this has been balanced. This is also okay. So this will be 2O. Let me just check it. 2Ag, nitrogen 2, oxygen 3 2s are 6, oxygen 2 2s are 4 plus 2, 6 over here. So the equation has been balanced over here. So, and this is one of the reason I told you that is they have been stored in the amber colored bottle. So this is an example of a photochemical reaction. That is a reaction in which the light energy has been absorbed. So under the so these are basically a type of the endothermic and the exothermic reaction. That is, the energy has been involved either in the form of heat or in the form of light or in the form of electrical energy over here. So all these are the type of your endothermic and the exothermic reaction. So with this we have completed with our second chapter. Thank you, students. Bye.